Alright, here we go. Gonna do some talking on this one. Gonna load up the franchise. Boop, boop. The Bandits. Go down to schedule here. Team schedule. So we already played that doubleheader. Lost the first one to Tuscaloosa. Or Tucson. TCS gets me confused. And then won against Raleigh. Now they're playing Mississippi. And we're gonna watch this game. Well, I don't even have to do this, but yeah. Boop. Boop. Alright. There we go. This game, the DLC, this is kind of the part of the season that I was waiting for. This is what I wanted to get to, is where we've done the first draft, done the first season, gotten through the draft, gotten through recruitment in the College Bowl, and now we're just seeing how the draft class performs in their first season. I got a good draft class. I was happy with the draft class that I got. Izzy Burns from Waldport. Got Henry King from Crimson Gulf. I'm confident that these guys can be starters and stars in the league. We'll see how it goes, though. Burns is getting this kickoff. Oh man, right there, right off the bat. Look at that. Look at the man go. He might not get in, but he's fast enough to. No, he's gonna get in. Boom. So right off the bat, it says Burns has already been having a good season, and that was one right there that just kind of demonstrates his abilities. The DLC stuff in this game really is, when you have that ability to bring over draft classes, to watch guys through college, as I've talked about before. Sorry to be boring, but when you have that ability to see guys who you worked out in college, put into games, saw them become starters and even stars in the college level, it really is cool to bring them into the pros, as it is, and watch how they play. That's a really fun aspect, and the longevity of the games increases tremendously, exponentially almost, because you can keep bringing in draft classes over the years. So I think that's a really cool thing about this game, and it's something that's fairly easy to do, and then it just kind of stretches the stories out for these players over years, over even decades, maybe up to 2 decades in the cases of some really good players. I think that's great. I think that's great for this game. I think that's something that's kind of unique about it. I know there are other games that have similar abilities, but you look at like Madden, you can't import draft classes. Well, maybe not with NCAA 25. Did they put that feature in? I don't know. I haven't even checked. I haven't checked on that, come to think of it. I'm going to look that up. Can you import NCAA 25 classes, draft classes to Madden? You can only import your career player into Madden 25. See, that's lame. That's lame. Why would they, am I looking at the right? Is that this year? No, it's 9 months ago. Good grief. Oh, wow. So the NFL didn't sign an agreement with the college players. And that's the thing, man. When you get into those big games, when you get into the upper echelons, the Maddens and the AAA titles and stuff like that, there are so many corporate agreements inside of them that you can't actually do everything that you would like to do. I'm sure that the EA team would probably love to incorporate NCAA 25 draft classes into Madden. I don't think that's a developer issue. I think that's probably a corporate issue, a lawyer issue. And I think that's one thing where indie games, when it comes to sports, and especially large league team games from NHL onward, has an advantage. I think that's especially apparent and especially pronounced in something like the NFL, though, because the NFL is such a big business. It's one of the biggest businesses in America, sports-wise, I should say. But I mean, when you think of how huge that is, how much money those guys are making, and then you think of all the licensing agreements they have, not just for teams, not just for TV and all that stuff, but the merch revenue, and it goes on and on. It is a disadvantage when it comes to making a game and having it be more expansive and inclusive, because those licensing agreements narrow down the scope of what you are allowed to do under the corporate umbrella. And I think that's kind of a fascinating aspect of the gaming industry as it stands right now. The bigger it gets, the more unwieldy, the more kind of slow-moving and plodding it gets. Whereas when you have no licensing agreement, people are actually less likely to buy your game if you don't have an NFL license. That's the trade-off. Everybody's like, well, I want to play in the NFL. Well, you're not going to be able to do that in this game unless you mod it or get somebody else who has modded it. But for me, that doesn't pose a challenge. And the reason is, I should just say, the reason is I'm a football fan. Football is independent of the NFL. The NFL is a very carefully licensed, carefully marketed version of football. But football itself is a game that has grown from being mostly honestly just being a fight, a kind of violent brawl in an open field from its early stages, and has become something that is more, a more structured game. Originally, football was just done, I think they traced it back, and this is a legend, so this may not be accurate or true, but there's some legends that put it back to some soldiers kicking around a skull in an open field, and then seeing who could kick it past the other team, and that really became kind of soccer. And then the American version of football was adapted to be able to more of a rugby style, try to advance the ball in a man's hands, or carrying, or you could kick it down the field for position and all that stuff. But really, those just turned into fights. Football was outlawed in the early mid 18th century or something, mid 19th century, I should say, the 1800s. I believe it was outlawed in America because it was just turning into late 1800s, I believe, 1890s or something. Because when guys were playing it, they were getting broken arms all the time. Some died because it was really just a fight. Guys would go out there and they'd start slamming into each other, and pretty soon the ball didn't matter. It was just punching a guy. That was really the point of the game, which is dumb. But what it became with the forward pass and actual strategic blocking, they outlawed the wedge formation, putting 7 men on the line of scrimmage, forcing them to be on the line of scrimmage. In the original, if you go back to the initial stages of football, they had a wedge formation, which was where like 7 or 8 guys were behind the line of scrimmage, and they would just run forward at the snap and just plow into the other team, and then try to move the ball that way. It was a very dangerous formation, is what it was, because you had guys who were 2 or 3 yards back of the line of scrimmage running full speed up into guys at the line of scrimmage or behind it. It was providing support from the backside, and yeah, just imagine the head injuries. Really, really dangerous and stupid way to play any game, but that's how they did it, and that's why it got outlawed. But then when it came, when it was reintroduced or re-legalized, it was legalized as a much more strategic and interesting game. Really more of a game rather than just a free-for-all. And today we have, with the invention of various types of plays, various ways to move the ball over the years, it just has become something far different. So the game itself existed long before the NFL. And even if the NFL died, the game would continue to exist. Would it be as watched? Would it be as well known? No, probably not, because the NFL has really done a great job of marketing the game. not just playing the game. And quite honestly, as far as just from a strategic standpoint, and this is another thing I've said before, but I actually prefer college to the NFL from a pure plays and counter plays and offenses and defenses standpoint, because in college you see guys who are more willing to do the weird thing. You see guys who are interested in just, hey, what can we try to move this football, even if it's weird. Even if it doesn't seem to make sense from a conventional standpoint, it still works. So that's the kind of thing that I like in college football, and even at high school level. They're running offenses that were developed way back when. They're running very old offenses, and they're mixing it with very new offenses. High school, I think, is really, that's kind of the breeding ground for football. And I would like to see, personally, I'd like to see high school football get a little bit safer. I think that high school kids are there's a lot of, they try to play like the NFL players sometimes, and I think that that's a very good way to damage yourself, because the NFL players are so big and strong. And in high school, you don't have the same kind of mass on these guys that are, that allows them to hit harder, true, but also that can protect them from bigger hits. And so that's why, you do see brain injury deaths in high school football. Not every year, but enough that it is concerning. It's very concerning for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of parents. I wouldn't let my kid play high school football. I wouldn't, even though I'm talking about it as being a breeding ground for interesting football. I still wouldn't want my kids to be out there. It's too crazy now, the way that things are going. I just wouldn't encourage them to do it personally. I know a lot of people would. That's their choice. That's up to them. It's up to parents and children. I'm just saying from my personal perspective, the way that the game has gotten faster, the way it's gotten, it hasn't gotten rougher. The collisions have become more precise. That's what I'll say with football, which is an interesting thing. The collisions are not necessarily harder at high school, but they've become more precise. There are some guys out there who have been coached to a point where the coaching has gotten more precise over the years. In some ways, coaching has degraded horribly. But in some ways, at some levels and in some camps, it's gotten more precise. And so guys are hitting at the maximum force. They've learned how to hit with maximum force. It's not like, their part of their body is limp when they hit. Part of their body is rigid. They've learned to go not just rigid, but rigid at the right time to create maximum impact. And that part scares me a lot. Not only that, while they've learned to do this, in many cases they have not been taught to be more careful in where they target. So you have guys who are learning how to hit with maximum impact at a place that may be indiscriminate on another player's body. So that's why you have head impacts. And the head impacts really can, we've seen guys who have died. And then the other thing is that sometimes it's just accidental collisions. A number of cases in football, usually kids aren't trying to kill each other on the football field. That's usually the case. There may be one or two out there at some point where, yeah, they are. They're just bad seed. But I would still tend to think that's extremely rare. And what happens more often is that guys, there's so much going on. The game was moving fast for them, and they don't really see the whole field. And so nice touchdown pass. Nice touchdown pass from Sykes. That was a great pass right in the window. See, this is why I like football. I don't want to see somebody get concussed. Or just that kind of precision, that kind of movement, that's incredible. And this game is really good at that, And so that's, for me, that's the appeal of football. And I wish that high school would be, guys, while they're learning to hit, I guess, quote unquote, better, that they would also learn to hit more precisely. That they would not be targeting heads, not be targeting vulnerable parts of the body, and then also that at a high school level you'd have kids paying attention. That's the hard part. It's never going to be perfect. Anytime you have a collision sport like football is, um, you're not going to have it perfectly where everybody's always safe. You can't have that. But I also don't view that as an argument for saying, well, then don't put any restrictions on it. You know, people are like, well, it's always rough, so some guys are going to get hurt. You gotta just accept that. I don't feel that way at all. Football is not a sport where your goal is to hurt someone. Football is you're trying to advance the ball and you're trying to keep the ball from being advanced. That's the structure of the game. Now, guys turn it into hurting. Intentional hurting sometimes. We've seen that with the Saints bounty gate and all that stuff. That's not really the point of the game. People can make it the point of the game, but that's not really, you don't get points for it. You get penalized for it in many cases. But to me, when you go down to that level of high school, despite the risks, I do believe it's an increased risk for kids, which is why I wouldn't have my kids playing it. At the same time, because coaches are willing to take risks at that level because they're not getting paid millions of dollars a year and they're not on the hot seat every second of every day. They're willing to try new offenses. They're willing to try new defenses. They're willing to try different personnel packages and alignments and all that stuff. And I think that's why high school football does influence from it's imperceptible almost at the top level, but the stuff that you see going on in high school filters into college and then into the NFL and the pro leagues. UFL now is also another one, but all those leagues eventually start seeing some things and they start kind of borrowing from, oh, there's Burns with a fumble recovery. Oh my goodness. Good job, guys. Good job, Bandits. But my hope would be for like Legend Bowl that we get more of that we get more of the different kinds of offenses and defenses, that we get more of the ability to control how your team plays, really make something unique for each team. And the crazy thing is that that's an advantage of an indie game. You can do stuff like that because you're not locked into the NFL's licensing and marketing. You're just locked into the game. And that's, to me, the crux of any good football game, which is why I like Legend Bowl. Any good football game should be about the football. It should not be about cutting-edge graphics. I know that cutting-edge graphics are cool. They make it look better. I agree with that. I'm not saying don't put anything into graphics. But my opinion is do the game. Do the game first. Then worry about the graphics. Get the game to where it's functioning like real football, as close as possible. It will never function fully. You cannot imitate. Oh, nice job, Sever. That's my rookie receiver. You can't imitate perfectly the game of football. You just can't, because there's too many thought processes going on. We don't have AI that can do that perfectly yet. But it can make it look really reasonably good. I know that, but no. Even in Madden, which has so much in terms of resources and money and abilities, you see that the blocking looks weird sometimes. The stuff pops up. They have weird glitches. It's just not possible to perfectly do a football game. But Legend Bowl is interesting because despite its many imperfections and obvious imperfections, it really does a good job of doing some football stuff that Madden doesn't. And I think that's crazy. There's a lot of stuff left out of Legend Bowl. And yet somehow there's also a lot of stuff in it that is better than what Madden has offered, which is crazy to me. The graphics are very lo-fi, very low-tech, higher tech than you would think, because despite the fact that they're pixel graphics, there's a lot of shading, there's a lot of different looks to it. But, that's not, again, it's not the most important thing. What's most important to me is how does the game move? How does the game look? Like Preston Hill's right there running up. That was a slow run, but that was him fighting through blocks and tackles. And so I love that. That looks cool. He got 4 yards or whatever on it. That's a good run. There goes Fraze. Again, a cool run where he does a spin move in the hole, gets up the field for 7 yards. That's cool. And I think that as football games become That was a weird one. There's a weird suction block thing that happens sometimes when guys get in the very edge of the hitbox. Sometimes they'll get sucked back into a blocker. I just saw that happen. Again, that's one of the imperfections of the game, but it still kind of ends up like real football. It still ends up like real football. He's gonna, man, that's a nice little run. So yeah, man, I just think that these games have great potential. Any indie football game, if somebody wishes to pursue it far enough, that's really the issue. Is anybody ever going to make enough money on an indie football game to justify the continued development of it? Because it's going to require it. I think just about any football game that is indie that comes out will require refinement over time. I don't think they're going to be released in full efficiency. Is what I'll say, at maximum potential. I think they'll have, because of the development schedules, because of the need to generate revenue, I think a lot of football games will be released, and then they won't be great. They'll be okay. Some of them will be bad. And then what ultimately determines the longevity and the popularity of the game will be, does the developer wish to keep pushing ahead to make a football game? Because it's, there's so much that goes into the logic and so much that goes into the core gameplay of football. 22 guys on the field at all times. The number of rules that there are, and this game doesn't even have penalties, so you don't have to worry about that part at this point. But, the blocking, the tackling, the QB making his reads, and the QB finding the right person to throw to, and then making a good throw. The tacklers who are taking the pursuit angles to get the ball or to get to the man. Which one do they do? Which one do they try for? All that stuff is just an amazing amount of work. So I think that any football game that comes out won't immediately be great. Legend Bowl wasn't. I know that. Legend Bowl had some work to do. And still, I see stuff all the time, like I just saw when I talked about the suction block, but I see other things all the time. Then I'm like, oh, that could be better. So the question is, will the developer continue to develop a game? And Super Pixel, King Havo, Javier Martinez, he's developed this game quite a bit. Even after release, he was still developing, not just fixing bugs, but adding features, adding stuff. So that really, to me, that's the bellwether. That's a determining factor, the indicator of whether or not a football game is going to reach at least most of its potential, if not its maximum potential. Is the developer determined to continue to make the game better? When they see something wrong, which there will be, but when they see that, are they determined to fix the logic? Are they determined to fix the animation glitches? Are they determined to fix all that stuff? Madden just comes out with a new version every year. Madden just puts out a new roster set every year and removes some features, adds old features back in. It's crazy. Oh, he should have led him to the sideline a little bit more. Whoops-a-daisy. Yeah. I mean, can't fault the cornerback. The cornerback made a great play. Ugueth Janusek. Nice job. They're beating. Missoula is beating my Bandits. I'm not especially thrilled about that. I hope the Legend Bowl and College Bowl either get more development or that a new game is made out of them. And that, that game will combine the best features and add new ones. I hope for that. Or I hope that they will get some kind of additional features put into each game or something. I hope that the development will continue. But Martinez, King Havo, said that he's kind of burnt out on it, which I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I wouldn't have finished a game like this. I know that. I know nothing about development, but I know I wouldn't have been able to finish this game. Much less continue to develop it after it was finished and released. So on that front, I don't blame him, but I would like to see more done. that's that's what I'll say. I would still like to see more done. That was a nice pass. It's nice job. After that pick, they capitalized. You know, Lindo shouldn't have thrown that ball. That's the bottom line. But yeah, I think this game has a great deal of potential still. Legend Bowl and College Bowl, I think, have potential. And I think if you took what's there, built on it, even with the sprites, even with the 2D, I love this. I love this look. But you know, there's all kinds of things you could do with what you have here, and turn it into something really special. It already is to me really special, but something that I think could have mass appeal. I think it's possible. I think it's sad that people will just ignore a game like this because no NFL license, sprites. Again, if that's your idea of football, you have the wrong idea of football, or what it is, or what the game is. There's a difference between being a football fan and being an NFL fan. An NFL fan is a marketing fan. It's not a game fan. The game itself is what makes the difference. And that's the thing that I think people, when we talk about the idea of style over substance, that's oftentimes, you know, that's the NFL in a nutshell. They give you a style, and they're constantly trying to change the substance, but sometimes it doesn't work. Anyway, but yeah, this is, the Bandits just scored again. So, making a comeback, you know. Making a comeback. To my rookie tight end, Gregory Lindo, to the rookie tight end. Long touchdown pass. And hey, they're right back in this. They're right back in this. That's the power of having a good team. And that's the other cool thing, man. When you build a team, and you can build a team over years by taking them through college, importing the draft class, and then making a new team or adding to your team from what you brought in. It really is cool to see how your team changes. You know, I was talking about the way that the speed in College Bowl, their ratings are much different than Legend Bowl. And so the way that you pick players and the way that you do you want to go for trying to maintain the same speed at the offensive line position, or are you willing to drop your speed expectations a little bit and instead go for more strength? All that stuff, it becomes very strategic. It becomes very it's not just guesswork. You have to actually understand what's going on and how the trade-offs, what they'll be. But when you understand that and you start messing with it, you can really change the feel and dynamics of your team. And I think that is also, to me, the part of an interesting part of the game of football. Personnel management. What kind of team do you want to be? How do you want them to play? Nice sack there. Nice sack. Lamar Adolphus. Great job. My defensive tackle, I think he's a 4-year defensive tackle. Extremely good player. Ooh, Sanzenbacher, but no, they had that umbrella coverage. And that's the other thing, man. The coverage in Legend Bowl and College Bowl has gotten much better. There were a lot of blown plays early on. You still see blown coverages, but not as terrible. Usually when guys get beat, like you saw in that last long TD run, up the middle against cover 2, that's typically how it's going to happen. If you've got a really solid tight end who can match speed with a slow linebacker, he can get behind the coverage, get up the middle. He can make those plays, but other guys aren't going to be able to. So all that stuff matters. Oh, got the screen to King. And nice little first down there. Nice little first down there. So with the fourth quarter just about to start. Nope. Wow, they got the play off. Wallingford on the counter. Oh, what a move. What a move. And he is taking off. Huge run by Pueblo Wallingford. That was a great run. Look at this. Getting it on the outside right there. Oh, that poor safety. He's probably got a family, dude. I don't know. I haven't checked. But he might have a family. They're going to have to watch that. Their kids are going to go to school tomorrow. And they probably have classmates who saw that. Oh, They're gonna get bullied. Anyway. Come on, guys. You gotta score here. You gotta score here. Get back. Oh, nice way to avoid the sack. Oh, and he got it to low for the touchdown. Throwing back across the field after dodging a sack into the end zone. What a play. Look at this. Oh. Single high coverage. Couldn't do the job. Oh, man. Looks like the corners got over there late. That's hilarious. What an absolute nightmare for the Red Wolves. What a nightmare for them. But what a great play for the Shreveport Bandits. Lindo. Man, Gregory Lindo just killing it. All right. So now we're back to where we're 4 points ahead. Missoula's got to get back there, and they've got to try to make sure that they get a touchdown here. They've got a great quarterback. I mean, he can do it. But do they have the guys on the outside to get it done? Well, Fraze just got a nice little run there. 3rd and inches. So, can my Bandits stop them here? Throw the ball. Oh, yeah. Apparently they can. Is that my defensive end? Yep. No, outside linebacker, Bo Crispin. I'm going to rewind that. Okay, so he just ran inside on that. He ran inside. Fought off a block and got to the QB. That was a great play. Wow, they pinned us on the 2. That was a good punt. Closer to the 3. Closer to the 3. Call it the 2. And they're going to run King. Henry King hasn't had a huge day. That's been interesting to see. Henry King not really killing it. But they're keeping him honest with the run so that they can set up the pass, which is interesting. Oof. Too many guys on the outside there. Yuga Janicek has been awesome for the Red Wolves. Like, he's gotten an interception. He just made that play. He's been all over the field. Oh, why'd you take that sack? Bro, why? So now they can win with a field goal. Yeah, that safety. A great punt. Bad decision in the end zone by my QB. And they could win with a field goal. And now we're at the 42. That's where they start? Ugh. I'm in danger. Oh, nice job. Nice job. Faka Tillison. Alright. Nice job, Tillison. Oh, and now my defensive tackle gets in on it. Is that Adolphus again? Yep. 3 sacks for Lamar Adolphus. He has been abusing that interior. Crazy. Oof. Nice pass. Nice quick pass, but not enough. He got it out quick. He got it to the man, but nope. Not enough. Good stand by the Bandits defense. Really great stand. Once again, man, they are doing a really good job on their punts. He couldn't coffin corner that one, but he pushed him back. I mean, we're at the 15. At least this time there will be less of a chance of a safety. We'll see how this works out, though. Henrika Fife. Well, if I were you, I'd run to the right. because there are very few people there. That's what they're doing. Oh, but they missed a block. Again, that's the problem. That offensive line speed. That offensive line speed. If it's not high, they're going to have a hard time getting to those blocks on the outside. I have a very good, strong offensive line, but they're not as fast as they used to be. Ooh. Oh. Absolutely obliterated his man. That was man coverage, and he just got beat. We're going to watch that on replay. He had inside leverage, and as he was running out, he actually had position, but he got faked out. He got faked out. He thought he was going to go inside or come back, and he went straight up field. That was crazy. Just put some kind of little move on him, and that dude freaked out. Whoops-a-daisy. Once again, back in a comfortable lead. 9-point lead. Still, it's only a 2-possession game. You know, if they get a TD and a field goal, they still win. If they got a touchdown on this drive and then went for the conversion and got that, it'd be real dicey. Defense is still playing good, though. Defense is still playing great. I'm gonna run and record some games. More games with Legend Bowl at first, because there's only 10 games in the Waldport season, or in the College Bowl season, and there are obviously 16 in the Legend Bowl. So, in order to make up for the discrepancy, trying to finish the seasons at the same time, and again another sack. They're just coming after him. I've got a Kane Castle, man, Kane Castle, great job. But in order to do that, I've got to make sure that I run a few more Legend Bowl games first. And then they'll even out by the end of the season. 2 minutes left. 9-point lead. Just don't blow it. That's all I want for these guys. I just want my guys to not blow it. You don't got to score here. Man, what a punt. Once again, from his end zone to the 15? Did he just kick an 85-yard kick? I mean, it wouldn't be that on paper, it would be from the line of scrimmage, but that's a crazy punt. Their punter's great. Alejandro Brumsey. You can't block me. Oh, hand off to King. Nope. Henry King. No yards there. He has, again, they've done a great job stopping him. They're front seven. And their cornerbacks have done a great job of contain on the outside with him, but maybe that's why they've left the pass game open. I mean, the middle and the fade routes, posts and fades have really hurt Missoula today. And I'm wondering if maybe it's because they're a little bit nervous about King. 1 minute 20 seconds left. We're almost done here. We've almost got this in the bag. One. Nice job. Once again, the counterplay. Oh, you should have gone straight up, bro. Why didn't you just go straight? Just go straight. Oh, gonna give me heart issues. Just go straight. That's all you had to do. Run straight. But you wanted to cut back inside. Because I don't know. Because you thought it was better? Okay, so less than a minute left. 59 seconds. They're on my 48. They got to score quick if they're going to score. Oh, well that's not it. Good grief, Grover. What was that? That was a panic. That felt like a panic throw. Oh, got his Sanzenbacher. Man, that was a better throw than the first one. 8 yards. 8 yards. 45 seconds left. Gonna go back to throw the ball. Got the screen. Got Fraze. Oh, broke one tackle. Couldn't get out of the other one. 37 seconds left. They've got one timeout. They got one timeout. I wonder if they're gonna take it if they get a positive play here. Nope, they're just gonna spike the ball. That seems like a waste of time. I would have used my timeout and then spiked it if I got a play, but whatever. So threw short, threw underneath. Yadiel Capetillo, he did not make a good play there. He should have just kept running his drag route and tried to cut up. He tried to cut back and it didn't work for him. 16 seconds left. And now they call a timeout of 14 seconds. So their chances of actually winning this game are very slender. They would have to get a touchdown here, convert the, oh man, great defense. Yeah. So this is their last shot. 11 seconds, 10, 9. This is a win for us. We're gonna walk out of here with a win. Oh, nice throw, and he bobbled it. Oof, that's rough. Wouldn't matter, but still, as a QB and as a receiver, you both hate to see that. 282 total yards, 225 passing, only 57 rushing for me. They had more than I did. Same average though, but 10 yards per pass attempt. Turnovers 2 to their 1, but we still won. Time of possession battle, they won by a lot. Probably because of the turnover discrepancy. Let's go back here and see the player of the game. Lamar Dolphin, yeah, 3 sacks. The guy was a monster. He played incredibly well. Not depth chart. Player stats. Sykes had a good game. 22-29, 2 TDs. Over here, 13-22, 3 TDs, 2 picks. So kind of a shaky game, but did enough. 10 for 7 for Henry. 1 for 43 for Wallingford. That's wild. Fraze had 25 yards, and then Campbell had 34. 4 catches for Fraze. Over here, Lowe had 5. Pello had 2. King had 2. Wicks had 1, which was a big one for TD. But yeah, good ball distribution from my QB. Lindo did a good job there. And then sacks. How many did we get? Whew. 8 sacks. Sacked him 8 times. That's rough. That's a bad day. No picks there. Who got the picks for them here? Trace, the ILB, and Yannisek. Yeah, he did a good job. Good job. Well, that's it, man. That's the end of this game. I hope you enjoyed it. A fun game. Fun to see my draft picks in there. Sizzy Burns had a good game. Henry King, not great. But some of my receivers, Wicks, made a big play. Definitely see some positive impact from the draft. And we'll see how this develops throughout the season. Alright, hope you enjoyed it.